Oh shoot, now I don't know if it's actually recording or not. Okay, I think it is. Okay. I'm Terry. I am 16 months. Wait, I wrote it down. Nope, I already forgot. Today I have a paper with notes. Very important. Um, I'm 17 months post my accident. And yeah, I'm going to make videos. Anyway, right now I don't even know. I'm probably just making them for myself, but I don't care. I'm getting the shit out of my head. And um, yeah, good thing I'm making notes. So, okay, I wasn't like this before. I had a busy practice. Um, I tell people I haven't lost my intellect. I haven't. I just can't hang on to it for long. Anyway, it's not okay. So I thought decided number one, like I made I think two already. I was gonna look them up first, but that all takes energy, and maybe later I'll get more advanced. But I just thought so today I made some notes. I set the timer. I think the other two I set the timer for 5 minutes because hey, I can ramble. I have a neck and a brain injury that I'm recovering from. And so I set the timer today for 10 minutes. I do have to be careful with conversations because I forget. And, it can be lonely and, you're chatting. And I used to ramble in the best of times and now it's even worse. So, next thing I'm talking nonstop for like a half an hour. And yeah, then the next day I can't talk at all because I have blinding headaches, like more than just my normal. So, the topic today I was going to talk about is I call them the crashes. So, I've had my first, the impact was 17 months ago, and I've had three physical things since then, that and then two other physical, and then what I've always called the real crashes, and that's when my brain goes. So, that's what I want to talk about today. And so, and I think the next video, as long as I remember, I'm either going to forget to make a note of it. I'm not going to figure out how to do it, or and then therefore I won't get done. Or I had a third one, but I didn't write that down. So anyway, back to the crashes. So I'm a cyclist. I took it up 5 years ago. Absolutely love it. Road cyclist, put tons of miles on. I'm so grateful I can still do that. It's September where I am, and I've put on 10,000 kilometers already. Like you can't see it, but down there's like quads of steel. It's a bit like iffy here, but down there that part works. But anyway, so I had a crash on my bike. I'd just taken my studded tires off winter riding, and it was melted everywhere except this little patch on the side of a hill, and so it wasn't even fast. And I was wearing a very high-tech helmet, and so the bike I didn't fall off my bike, and the bike didn't just like fall over. It actually, I was going very slow climbing, and it just like kind of flipped out and slammed the side of my head into the pavement, and and the symptoms really. So that was the first big, like, that was the crash that did this. Like I've had over my years, like hit in the side of the head with a baseball, like that one was quite memorable. And I had a serious, big concussion here when I was 13, many moons ago, off a horse. And that one was like really bad blackouts and everything. But this one, like nothing, like I remember the impact. It was only later, months after, and I live alone, so I don't really have anybody watching me. Months after, like, because, I was just like, no, I didn't pass out or anything, but actually, I don't remember. Next thing, all I remember is I'm in a sitting position, so I didn't actually, for months, didn't even realize, but I think I must have had a slight blackout. But I do remember that, the impact. But I was just kind of sitting there, and body didn't feel bad. Like I just kind of like, I'm older, and it's like, okay, nothing broken, and someone saw it. I was like, he was walking, and are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. And but I know I had a huge impact on my head. Like I felt it. I didn't. That's all I remember was the what that, you know, like kaboom, like just. And like I don't know my shoulder, no nothing, right? But I didn't I didn't even feel rattled. I may have seen stars in my life like a few times. I was an avid horse rider and, whatever things. So I know what stars are and getting getting rattled. And none of that happened. So I was just like, okay, and I live alone, so I'm thinking, okay. I was cycling to work actually, and kind of a bit of a hammerfest ahead of time, kind of blew a quick 30 kilometers off, and I would show up in the office at 8 a.m., right? So I had a lot of Mother Nature's drugs coursing through my system, and so anyway, I was like, okay, what's my choice? Go home, sit by myself. I could kind of like I work there, or continue to the office. And I knew I'm in Canada, so I knew that like there was actually a coworker of mine that knew concussion protocol, and so I thought, okay, I'll go there. I felt okay, so I started to pedal again, and for any cyclists that might be listening one day, my bike was okay, and so I felt okay. So then like every normal person, after like a couple of blocks or like a kilometer or something, I went back to my Hammerfest. It was like 11K more to work, and no problem. And so I'd done a 40 kilometer, speed. It was like working out heavy at the gym. I had a runner's high or like a cycling high. I'm starving, needed second breakfast, so like I wasn't nauseous or anything. But anyway, my physical symptoms started to creep up in about an hour and a half, like when I guess, the Mother Nature's drugs left my system. I actually took an allergy pill before I went to the office. To the hospital. I thought, maybe sinuses, like this feeling in my head. So I still try to blame it on that sometime. But when you rest, sinus headaches and stuff don't go immediately away. So anyway, anyway, CAT scan didn't show anything. And the ER doctor said, go home and rest. And I was a little freaked out when I was young. At 17, my best friend was killed. Stupid accidents, like a little hit to the head, nothing compared to what I experienced. And she died the next day of a brain bleed. So I kind of had that in my back pocket. But they had the CAT scan; they didn't see anything. And so I took a couple of days off. Like I run my own business, or I used to, a practice, and I was a financial advisor. And so I took a couple of days off. It was a bit of a shit show there. I had someone working for me, and frankly, no replacement. And I went back the following Monday. I think that happened on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So I went back to work on Monday, and I lasted. So the physical crashes. Okay, well, I don't. I've got a fucking brain injury. So, and I didn't swear nearly so much before, and I'll try not to so much. It's just an adjective. But so I went back to work. I lasted about a week and a half, and I'm in a high stress job. But I've been doing it for 30 years, and I was finding that I needed to rest. So like I'd do some meditation in the morning, and hard. Okay, no more 50-hour work weeks. I was trying to get out of the office like 4 o'clock or something. Like I'm still starting at 8. A reasonable work day. Actually take a lunch break because I was not feeling right. But anyway. That happened on April 12th, and what I call my real day, the crash, like when people say, when was your crash? Like, well, the physical one was April 12th, but my real crash was April 26th, and for the most part, I've not worked since. I never even took a sick day in my 30 years. I was never sick. I didn't even know what a headache was. And that day, that morning, I just was in a fog. I had one meeting. I was going to go into an office and meet some clients there. And I was prepared. And these are people I've been dealing with for 30 years. It's mostly just like chit chat, like any of the financial work that I did for them. It was already done. It's just mostly visiting. And I'd say, oh, by the way, we need to do this and this and that. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And we visit some more and leave, get some hugs. And so, but like 10, and that was like at noon or something. And by 10 in the morning, it was just like, I'm just all over the place. I'm just, it's getting worse. I've tried my meditation, my brain, it was just shutting down. I'm just kind of wandering around my house, very emotional. It's just I guess inside maybe what the hell is happening to me, it'd be like I'm breaking. I felt like I was just, but I just kept going. Then I got dressed. I drove there, maybe it's a 10-minute drive, and I got in that parking lot and I just sat there, and I was afraid to start crying because I thought if I started crying, I would never stop. And Are you kidding? Like, I've just rambled for 10 minutes already? Okay, I'll say screw that and go a little bit further. Probably gonna have a headache later. Dismiss. And yeah, I was like, I just, it was bad. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was just like a fog. Like, I don't even know. That was when the real crash was. So I managed to kind of get in the office, and there was a receptionist, and I just basically told her I couldn't, like, and then I had to leave the parking lot as fast as I could because I knew my clients and who knew me, I didn't want them to catch me in the parking lot and go, like, I couldn't make conversations. And I just thought, like I've never been sick. I heal myself. Like, I've had an injury or anything. I take care of, like, I took care of 300 clients, and I'm the caregiver in my family, and, I'm a health nut and everything. Like, heal thyself. So on the way home, like, this was like, what the frick is going on with me? I'm like, okay, I gotta just, I can't focus on it, right? Because, if you focus on, oh, my arm hurts or something, right, then your arm's going to hurt for sure. So I stopped at Superstore on my way home, and I just thought, okay, like, um, I'm a health nut. I can get lost in the produce section. So I just, like, my perp, like, was just go do something that I like to do, that I can just go in there. And the minute I walk in, I'll be like, ooh, apples, or anyway, that's who I am. Well, that didn't work. And like, nothing worked after that. And that was so that to me was the real crash. And the next video, like, I'll talk more about what I've learned looking back, because I didn't even know how bad I was for like months. And I was just walking around my house by myself, trying to heal myself. People would, like, my family, nobody knew what to do with me because I looked after them. And I just kept telling them, no, like, my whole focus was just getting back to work. I'll make another video about things that were mistakes from the beginning, but how in the hell do you know? But anyway, so that, I call that my real crash. And then, so I was off, and in the beginning of June, so yeah, then corporately and my business, a bit of a shit show there, right? Big corporate world. Clown is trying to eat me, like, it was just, anyway, like, kind of a, like, cutthroat, like, steal my business, right? Like, and so I did try to go back to work in the beginning of June with this guy that was, long story, but he was like the only one licensed, like the same kind of licensing that I had. So, that really in the city that I live with, the only one that in the moment could take over my clients. And I had talked to him in the past about partnering up, but I didn't like the person that he was. He was motivated by money, and I was motivated by helping people. But anyway, I had no choice. And so I, thought same, like, I wasn't even feeding myself properly. Like, it wasn't until months later that I looked back, my whole focus was trying to get back to work. So I lasted about a week. So I kind of went into the office where he was, and then that was just horrendous again, like, just any kind of lifting of fog that I, thought, oh, okay, I should kind of maybe go back now, right? Was, all dashed, and I, like another monster crash. Like, then, because if you push, right, now, if I, depends, I just suffered the last like, anyway, I'm jumping ahead to my story. So, I was really in bad shape. And so and so, like, I've had 3 physical things to my body in the last, I have to look, 17 months, right? The first one was the bike crash, and then I've had 2 physical things, and I've had 3 brain crashes. So the first one was when I first went tried to go back to work. The second was in June. And so that's over a year ago. And I just am recovering from the third one. Like, I was almost back, like, the last month, like, hardly can make sentences again. So again, the next video, I'm going to talk more about, like, what I've learned. Well, yeah, really, the judge is still out on that. Not really sure until if I never do overdo it again and get that bad that I've set back myself, my recovery, like, so major. Or is this just the normal ebb and flow? Anyway, so anyway, just to the sequencing. So now I've had the 1 physical, the 2 brain crashes, and my accident happened in April. the bike accident, and then in the summer, like so after June, and I was like, okay, what the hell am I going to do with myself? And so one day I was somewhere and I wasn't on my bike, and I was hiking and in rocks, and again, don't make probably the best. It started to rain, and so I took a shortcut. So instead of going longer on the road or calling a cab or something, I'm still just wandering out in the world all by myself. And so I took the shortcut through the woods. Of course, who would not do this? It's called the White Shell in Canada, but there's lots of granite rock, and it got wet. And I slipped. And so it happened so fast, I slipped. And of course, automatically, I put this arm out to protect my head, right? I didn't want to, like, because I was kind of slipping, my feet went out from underneath me and I was falling backwards. So I put this arm out so I didn't hit my head. But it was a tremendous jolt, because I'm not a lightweight, right up my arm and that. And I was already starting to deal with, like, immediately after this, as fast as I could, like, I'm active. So I call them my pain management people over the years. I see physio people, or like, if you're active and you're lucky to live long enough, like, you'll have a back strain. One time I herniated a disc 7 years ago, healed thyself, like with the help of these pain guys, and I don't take stuff. Anyway, so I had already been seeing a physiotherapist specializing in concussion. And so that's kind of, I gave him a few months. And then, so when this happened, that's when my arm started. Like, that's when it wasn't just my head and I suffered a whiplash. I didn't even know that until I wasn't doing the CAT scan, and I was like, oh shit, I'm lying down and I couldn't lift my head. So I was already working with somebody about that. But then after that slip on the rocks, at that point, that's when my kind of shoulder. So then when I call it the sick, when I get the concussion symptoms, and I gotta, and at that point, not only did I have to kind of support my head and my neck, then I was starting to have to support my arm and shoulder. And so that, and to this day, it's still part of that. When I get symptoms, I know I got it, for me to be comfortable to settle things down. It's still part of that routine. And then that fall, I was on my bike, and I'm super safe cyclist. Like, I live in a city that's very dangerous for cycling. And I'm grateful, like, I live very close to the edge of that city, so I can very easily jump out into the country and ride on safe roads. And I'm wearing bright pink. I've got lights, like monster lights. I got a rear view mirror. And we have walking and biking paths, but where we live, like, people are too busy on their freaking cell phones, or they've got ear sound canceling earbuds on, like, and it's horrible. Like, it's just, so I try to stay off those, frankly, because they're freaking dangerous. I can't afford another crash because somebody's, like, not looking and I'm yelling at them and stuff behind them. I'm going super slow now, because until I know that they actually see me, I'm not risking my life. And then they'll still step back to take that selfie moment. But anyway, so I'm on the road and I'm going through an intersection. Like, the light just changed. Was changing. I had the right of way, so there was no traffic on that side. It was just kind of we have a big museum there, so there's no traffic there. I'm watching the traffic there, right? Because that's the only oncoming. Because as soon as I hit the intersection, it's like turning yellow. So I'm watching the cars, make sure nobody's jumping the light before I clear the intersection. And a woman on her cell phone, so I didn't even see it, from the side. If I was a car going through that yellow light, she'd been the one on the ground instead of me. I was doing 30 kilometers an hour and she sent me flying off my bike. So I was just watching them. It happened in a heartbeat. She stepped off the curb, her nose in the phone, a new Canadian. Like, I love them. I'm not that, right? But she just, right? Anyway, it had nothing to do with that, except she couldn't speak English. So that was really bad. And then all through this, like, my light and sound sensitivities, like, just horrendous. But that was the beginning of October, and then it got really bad. And so that was my 3 physicals, and then the last, like, other. So then this whole journey, then through the winter and all of that, is other videos, maybe or maybe not. But then the last one happened. It started by the beginning of July. Just too much. Like, I went away over the winter, got a rental. Like, I'm fortunate in that way. I'm not worrying about money. It's a disability company. That's another video. Pride, like actually accepting that. Frick, I've been supporting myself since I was like a teenager. And, you know, but anyway, so I went away, you got to come back eventually, and I have a house. I have like a trailer. I was a caregiver to 6 grandchildren, and or part-time caregiver, pretty instrumental one anyway, just too much stuff. And but how do you not, like, so now I'm not just feeding myself and trying to take care of my health and exercise and meditate and quiet walks on the beach. Now I'm like dealing with like a leaky something in my trailer, like the windows at my basement windows leaking, like all of this. And people, you know, you find out really who your really deep friends are. Like a lot of people say they want to help, but when the time comes, everybody's busy. Like I started to watch I've joined a concussion group, and my neurologist, told me don't in the beginning, don't, so I didn't. So now this far along, I finally did. But if you do, join a good one. Like the one is, it's the it's the Concussion Foundation of Canada or something. And I think there's a counterpart in the US, because it's really nice. Like they do Zoom support meetings, and I've done, I think, about 4 now. But they also have like a neuroscientist, something graduate student maybe, that's moderating that meeting. So it's not just a bunch of us brain challenged people, like then it doesn't become a bash fest or like a bunch of misinformation or something. So I find that helpful, because I still don't know what the frick is going on in my head sometimes. So there's been already a couple times that I'm like, holy shit, I do that, and I don't even have a perception of what I'm doing wrong. So a little bit of that, because like I can do screen time, like all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to be rambling again, so I'm going to stop right away. I'll find the button so you'll see that awkward moment when I think in the other videos, like, so this is like I comb my hair. Okay, I put it in this, and I wipe my face and stuff, wash my face, and I'm going to brush my teeth soon. So I wanted to do this first while I'm like, I get into my witching hours, whatever. So yeah, so the next video, what did I put down? And then I wrote it in terrible little writing, what I learned from this last crash, like not the physical one, like the one that I've been now laid up for really bad again. What I learned about that. So if anybody ever sees this, I just wish you the best on your journey. I know in the end, I'm an optimist. Sometimes it's hard for me to pick myself up off the floor, and there are days when I think, why bother? What's my purpose? I don't have a purpose anymore. And but I keep kicking. It's like I feel like sometimes like I'm treading water, I'm drowning, I'm going down, and I fucking kick up again. And this last crash was really bad, like the mental and the physical and everything. I went pretty far down, right? Like, like the treading water, and then, suddenly you can't anymore. And then, it's just like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. But then it's just like, you kick once, and then, then like next thing you pop up at the surface again. But, so that is there. And, but I still, with all of that, believe and have faith that more good than not will come from this. I'm just in the messy in between. One of the good things, and that I thought to end on positive note, is, I don't know what day it is today. I'm going to think hard. It's Wednesday. I don't have to go to work today. And I was too young to retire yet. And so I don't have to go to work today. So that's definitely positive. And I can't multitask anymore. And you know what? I didn't multitask. I did 5 things at the same time. So that is not a bad thing. Like, I'd be probably doing this video walking around dusting, making cookies or something in my house. So if I talk to someone on the phone or anything, like I have to be, I can't, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So, okay. My heart is with anyone that's listening to this, and on your own journey of recovery and discovering, I suppose, your new self, or your new self for just a while, or whatever the case may be. And yeah, thanks for listening.